An accommodation is a change to the way a student accesses information or demonstrates learning. Again, the purpose is to provide an equal level playing field for students so that they can have the appropriate education without being isolated.
Accommodations can range from virtually anything. It's individualized to your child, and there's not really limitations on what you can ask the school and what the school team can come up with. So when you file a due process complaint, we'll have the resolution meeting within 15 days and talk about the issues, why we filed the due process complaint, what we think appropriate resolutions might be.
So reasonable settlement with due process complaints, it really depends on the facts of the case. In egregious instances, the district will agree to pay for tutoring, counseling outside of school to try and compensate for the failed opportunities that the child has had in the past. If you've been tutoring your child after the school has refused to provide them services they're entitled to, then that would definitely be a possibility. You would be reimbursed for those.
If the parent and the school disagree on the level of accommodations that the student should receive, that could rise to a due process complaint.
If you don't agree with the accommodations in your child's IEP, you can get your child reevaluated. If it's not meeting your child's needs, if the child is still failing academically, those are all symptoms that suggest that the IEP is not working and it should be reassessed.
For some students, they may have an occupational therapy assessment performed, and that assessment could recommend a certain number of minutes per week or month for that student to have occupational therapy.
Schools are supposed to log everything. You as a parent do have the right to request those logs whenever. If the records don't exist, if your child's coming home and telling you, hey, I didn't do speech therapy today and you know they should have, we'd be able to help you get those rights that your child has been missing out on. Transition services refer to what are we going to do after the child graduates and or ages out. Starting at the age of 14, the IEP team should start looking at, okay, what are transition services going to look like for this child? And by the age of 16, there has to be in writing in the IEP what the transition services are going to look like. It looks different for every child. And if the student has a disability that is going to require services for their lifetime, a plan in order to implement that under the ADA. So it's completely different federal law that doesn't have to do with education, but that does have to do with persons with disabilities and their rights under federal law in the long term.